All right, so in this video, we're going to go over pretty much filling out optimizing this section of the video. We're going to optimize it to a certain degree. There's other things that we need to optimize, but there's no way I can talk about everything in this video, but we're going to do about probably two-thirds, maybe a half to a two-thirds of what we need to do to get it optimized, all right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to access your Google Business Profile. You want to use the email associated with your Google Business Profile. We also recommend that you use your desktop while updating. It just makes it a lot easier for you to copy and paste. Because I am going to recommend that you use an AI platform, ChatGPT, of course. You may use others, whatever you may be using. Okay, so we're going to go to Google Business, google.com/business. Okay, and then once you log in, you're going to click on Manage Now. Now, if you just have one Google Business profile, it's going to take you directly to um, this screen. But if you have multiple businesses, then it's going to take you to this screen that you're going to see these two or however many Google Business profile that you will see. Now, a couple of things that I want to make note here is, and this is what I've seen many times, that you want to document everything being done with your Google Business profile. I tell that to my clients. I tell that to my students. Um, Two reasons. Because you want to take it slow. Number one is that when you make multiple changes at the same time, if you make a lot of change, that may trigger Google to to a re-verification process, meaning that I see this happen mostly when you change addresses or when you change business name, but whatever the case may be, you want to make sure you don't want to go and trigger re-verification. That means you have to go through the video verification process, and that may take a couple of days up to a couple of maybe a month, right? It all depends. And then there are other instances where we have seen where somebody makes a whole bunch of changes and submits it, and then only to find out later they go back onto the Google Business Profile to see that none of the changes has been approved. And so that's why we emphasize take it slow, one approval make the change, make sure that the approval goes through before you make another change. Okay. Another thing to make note aware is with regard to these red dots that you see, right? If you have multiple accounts and you see this red dot, that red dot indicates that somebody has made a change, whether it's Google or whether it's somebody else, they have made a change. And what you want to do is you want to confirm and edit it afterwards. What that means is that even if the change, the update is not correct, I would suggest to confirm it and then go in and update it to the correct whatever it may be. It may not. The only reason I say that is because sometimes if you try to make not confirm it, then the Google just has it doesn't go through. And so ultimately, that's what we do in our internally. Okay. So now you're in here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click on Edit Profile, and this is where we're going to go through the process. Now, for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a realtor that is currently in our new program, Local Growth Lab, and we're going to use his Google Business Profile to explain and go through this process. All right. So for every section that we go over, whether in this case, let's say business name, right? I'm going to say, fill out the company name. And then I'm going to write in here, add notes or screenshot of any change. Right? We do that internally only for our purposes. We do that for to document to the client of all the changes that we make, but also for you, if you are in one of our coaching programs, it's also so that you take a picture of it, and so if there's any issue, you can. It allows me to see what was done, to see, to give any advice in the event that there is any issue. Right. So we do during our weekly coaching call. If there's any issue, then you can share the what was done. So kind of I'll go back and see if there's any issues that need to be addressed. All right. All right. So before we go and talk about business name, I want to talk about what is very important in the world of local SEO, which is called NAP, name, address, and phone number. And so name, address, and phone number, NAP, they call it. It is critical that NAP be consistent or same across all listings and social media everywhere. I'm not going to go into the whole explanation, but that is very important. And that's why I go over in here the various, I'll give you two examples. So for example, my company, K Madison Media, it's a DBA of K Madison Associates, LLC, right? I'm going to talk about two other example, right? David, right? He's in, let me just pull this up. So like if you look at David Altazara, Riker Properties, right? So I would recommend that he not utilize that and say, David Altazara, comma, realtor, right? There was another case in one of our clients' case where um, they we initially started with classic remodeling, but then after started to work with the client and seeing their online presence and also their company name corp, um, I don't remember exactly, but I think it had to do with a another higher domain authority website that were using classic remodeling corp, and so we decided to go with classic remodeling corp. So it had to do with the decision to, there's no right and wrong, but at the end of the day, you have to look at what's visibly online and then go with what you think is going to be the quickest fix to the quickest destination, meaning to get online presence quickly recognized by Google. Okay. Now for this, you can use for there's various tools out there, but we use uh, a platform, and we give the report to our students. And let me pull that up. So if we look at the this report, right, and let me just pull it up, citation tracker, right, and if we look at this report, we see that he is not being listed in a lot of the um, citation listings. And so I am confident that we can use any name that is appropriate. And so I think with Classic Corp, Classic Remodeling, when I looked at their listings and I saw that there was more corp than without the corp, and so it's just easier to just go ahead and use corp because that's what's being used more. Okay. And so with in this case, David, right, we'll just use this. Okay. All right. Let's go with next the business category, right? So this is where you can have one primary category and then any secondary categories. You're more than welcome to add more, but not like a lot. Adding more is not necessarily good, right? So you have to be very specific because if you're trying to fight for a local ranking for specific categories, right? And you're telling Google to compete with all these various categories, then it's very difficult, right? So you want to try to be narrow, but at the same time you have the ability to go and add other categories. So here you can use the report. So if we pull this report and let's say the Google audit, right? And if you want these reports, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. Uh, it's a real estate agent. And so if we look at this, we see that there's real estate agency, real estate agent. So when you look at this report, you're able to see the primary and the secondary categories of your competitors, right? whoever that may be, right? Now, you can also use Google search, right? So what I mean by that is if you go into Google and you can type in for my Google business profile, right? Um, what what are the primary category? What is the primary category for real estate agent, right? Or whatever business you're in. So you have here uh, real estate agency, real estate agent, right? So in this case, we'll pick real estate agent as the category primary, and then um, I just know from experience, right, that um, the other thing you can do is when you're in the Google Business Profile for the specific, let's say here, let's go into David's account, and then let's just type in um, real estate, and then you go into, um, you just type in, you could just start typing in your industry and it'll pop up and it'll do the search and you'll see, right? Um, the other category for him will be real estate consultant, right? If I don't know whether he does commercial or not, then you can pick. I don't think there is a commercial real estate agent here. Let's see, right? So this is where you need to spend a little bit time and see if your so there is no specific for real estate agent as a commercial, right? So I don't know whether he does that or not, um, but we'll leave that category alone. Okay. All right. So next thing that we're going to talk about here is you can use ChatGPT as well, right? The thing about um, with ChatGPT is that you have to put in the right input, right? So what I mean by that is, for David, I believe his niche is first-time home buyer as well as downsizing, right? So you have to specify a real estate agent, and my specialty is first-time home buyer and downsizing with Wyker properties, right? And then you would ask ChatGPT, tell me what primary and secondary categories that I can utilize for Google Business Profile, right? Um, and so, but I know from doing this so many times is that if you're a real estate agent, your primary category is real estate agent, and secondary is real estate consultant, right? If I'm doing it for a brokerage, then agency would come into play, um, and every niche is different, and so if you're in a specific niche and you have questions about what to put as your primary, secondary, um, the things to consider is keywords do you want to pull up when people are searching for you, right? And if you still have additional questions about that, reach out I guess join our Zoom session and ask those questions. And then let's go into description, right? And so here, what you're going to do is after you give it the prompt of telling ChatGPT who you are, then you can say, ask ChatGPT, give me a description that I could put in the Google Business Profile, right? And sometimes they'll give a long description. And so one thing that you want to make sure is that Google Business Profile, if you go in here, right, in the description, if you're limited by 750 characters, right? 750 characters. Now, there is also suggest description. You can add it, you can utilize that. Um, but you, I think some cases it does work very well, other cases not so. Okay, so you can use this in conjunction with ChatGPT to come up with what you think is a good description using keywords, right? There has to be some keywords that represents who you are. Okay, all right. So let's go back Some things that you want to make note of, things that I uh, want to bring up to your attention is, of course, character count, right? Highlight what people need to know and avoid sales talk. Now, use this as a basis for also what description you're going to use in your social media as well. Okay, in certain social media accounts, they're going to have shorter word count, maybe 150 characters, so you may have to use ChatGPT or AI to help make it more concise. Avoid caps, gimmicky, uh, language, and of course, use keywords because that's what, besides the reviews, description is what Google uses to help, figure out what you do. Minor factor, but reviews is more important than descriptions, but it's still important. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about opening date. Okay. Now, you want to add the date to Google, your Google Business profile. Now, things I want you to know about dates. Okay, these are, let's say, if you got license for your specific profession. Okay, um, so the reason why that's important is because when Google pulls you up and shows you, it says in business for X number of years, right? So having that date shows, I mean, it's definitely beneficial if you've been in business for, let's just say, 15, 20 years, right? So that's why you want to put the date in there. Okay. Um, okay. So let's go to the next one is phone number. Add up to 3 phone numbers. And then these are some of the consideration. So um, now every business is going to be different. And so we take a consultative approach to our clients. And this is also for your business as well. And so if you have questions or don't know what to do, then bring them up in our Zoom session. Okay. Depending on your current online presence. Now, what does that mean? The ability to control your phone number forwarding, and then whether you're going to plan to use voice AI in the future. So the best way I can explain, for example, we have one client that you decided to use their phone number because they've had this phone number for a number of years, right? Um, but it's a phone number that they're able to control. What that means is that um, during business hours, they do not forward it to, they have, after hours, they have the phone number forwarded to the number that we have in HighLevel. And because then what happens is after hours, the HighLevel, uh, the voice AI picks up all the calls, right? Um, Now, I have another business that they do that also in conjunction, that when somebody does not pick up the calls after a certain number of rings or a certain time period, then the voice AI, the AI picks up as well, right? Now they can do that because they have control over their phone numbers. Now, professionals typically use their cell phone numbers, right? So it's different approach. It all depends on how each individual professional wants to handle it, right? Um, they could set up their phone number so that their cell phone number so that it continues to call and not have the voicemail not pick up. And in that case, after a certain number of times, it will they could have it forwarded to the number that is HighLevel. But uh, now let's just say I in my recommendation is to have to switch their main business number to the number they get in HighLevel so that you have control, meaning that you can have it forwarded to your cell phone, right? You can have it turn off at a certain time so that AI can pick up, or for that matter, you can have missed call text back, reply to people that miss calls. Now, one of the things on a side note that really help is this also helps filter out a lot of the spam calls as well. Okay, so I hope that um, with that understanding, you can kind of better make decisions because the name, address, and phone number has to stay consistent. So if you decide to keep the your business number that you've had, then it has to stay consistent across the board. If you decide to use the number that you get in high level, then you have to switch over and start using that number moving forward. And I do believe that if you decide later on to move out of high level and you got the number through there, you can always port it out as well. You also have the ability to port in numbers as well. Okay. But it just takes time at the end of the day. Porting typically takes anywhere from, I think up to a month in most cases. Okay. Next is website. Okay. Add and update your website and make sure that it has HTTPS, or you have to make sure that it does, it's, what do you call it? Not certified, but it is secure, right? Basically, that's what it means, secured. Now, um, a couple of things that we want to make note of. As in for professionals, let's just take for example real estate agents. So he has a subdomain for Wiker. Now it's fine. Um, you don't have to have a website for Google Business Profile to help it rank. Of course, if you have it, it's going to help, right? But you don't need that. I've seen a lot of um, a lot of Google Business Profile that's ranking without websites, right? But of course, having a website helps with credibility at the end of the day. Now, um, for those that are in um, uh, the local uh, growth lab, that are local businesses in our community that are part of the membership, right? There is a playbook on how to set up the website, right? You could do it yourself, or if you want it done for your service, we provide that as well. But you can keep the subdomain temporarily for now, but understand that you're going to be limited in what you can do, right? Because I don't know, I have we have I don't know what Wiker's ability to edit their website. I don't know. There's a lot of things that may impede what you can and cannot do. I'm not sure if you could put AI chat widget on their platform or not, right? Um, for example, I think for Century 21 Moxie platform, I think we're very limited in what they can do because the platform won't allow you to do everything. I don't know if there's APIs, webhooks, and things like that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we'll talk about that in other uh, future videos. All right. So next, we're going to talk about social profiles, right? Now, you're going to add whatever social media profiles URLs that you have, right? Uh, Now, may need to come back to this Google Business Profile to update URLs on future social media accounts that we're going to create. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and create. The recommendation is to put all of the social media accounts that are listed on Google Business Profile, right? So I know I'm not going to list them all, but there are a handful of accounts that are visible, right? When you pull, let's go into the Google Business Profile. So if you look at here, social profiles, right? You see TikTok, X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. Even though you may not have every one of these accounts, we're going to go ahead and create accounts, and we're going to optimize each one of these accounts for SEO purposes. And so those modules or the videos are upcoming. Okay. All right. So next, business location. Now, this is where the address that you want to use. And for this particular one, we need to do some research. You need to go into Google Maps and you're going to research and put in the address of your business and see what Google Maps pops up with, you're also going to use so let's just take a look at, Davis right here, 27 Union Square West, Suite 308. Okay, so if I go into Google Maps, right, and I type in 27, oops, let's see here, 27 Union Square West, right? So right here it says 27 Union Square West, it says W, right? Now, in most instances, Google will recognize number 308. So right here, 308, and whether you put suite STE, but for the purposes of, you know, let's just say, let's go with suite 308. Let's say, right? Let's see if STE. So suite 308, and then let's say number 308, and it'll pick up all of them, right? So I would stick with suite 308. I would use STE. So I will, yeah, even though like here, I'll put in suite STE, I'll use that. And then um, let's go back to here. And then if I go to United States Postal Service, right? This is going directly. So you can find this tool if you go to Quick Map and then look up zip code and then find by address, right? Then I will put in here 27. Now this is for national. I'm just thinking whether it's for locally or not. Okay, 27 Union Square, Square West or West 308, New York. Type in New York 1003. I believe that was it. Let me just get out of this. Um, Hold on a second. 10003. Okay. Let's see. 100. Now let's go find. And so here is 27 Union Square West, right? So do we use Union Square with SQ? I would, if I had a choice, right? Let's see here. This is, let me see, Union Square. Let's see what this pulls up, right? So Google Maps is showing Union Square and United States Postal Service is showing SQ, right? I would go with Google Maps because Google Map is telling you, Google Map, you're on the Google Map platform. So I would stick with 27 Union Square West with W, right? And then we'll do STE 308, okay? And that's what you want to use consistently throughout every place that you put an address. Use the same address across the board anywhere, okay, that you type in the address, okay? So that way, the name, address, and then phone number stays consistent throughout online. And so you don't give Google any reason not to recognize you. Okay, so they know that as soon as you mention that, they know that it's you. Okay, all right. So uh, let's go to the next, right? And I said here the citation tracker in the report. All right, let's go with be consistent. Like I said, suite, lane, road. Okay, now service area. Now add up to this is where you have the ability to add up to 20 service areas. Now, service areas can be neighborhood towns, counties, states. If you have both a physical location and serve at a custom area, you can enter the customer's location as well as a service area. Now, um, I have come across professionals where maybe your location of your broker or whoever you're working with and where you serve are two different service areas. And then in that case, it might be necessary for you to take the address off and do service area um, as your service area. So basically, but just understand that it's not going to be as strong as utilizing with address. Okay, that's just from my experience. But there are exceptions. Okay, you can enter cities, postal codes, and regions that you actually serve. Now, the service area should also be in the website. So this goes a little bit outside of the prelude of Google Business Profile, but I'm just putting it in there because it is important. And then also the service areas can be up to 2 hours away, right? Okay, so this is also where you can utilize ChatGPT in, if you have a hard time coming up with this 20 areas, then you can probably use ChatGPT, right? Use ChatGPT or even Google, right? AI. Um, when you do Google AI, there's AI mode right here, right? You can use AI mode here, right? For those that are not familiar with AI overview, and AI mode is here, okay? Just kind of the same thing as talking with ChatGPT, okay? And then in the ChatGPT, you can say, hey, give me the top 20 areas that service areas that I can use. Now, you'll also understand you can also put county, right? So every state has counties, right? If it's appropriate. So I want you to understand that it may be different, for every state, every counties, and so you basically have to do a little bit due diligence. And if you have any questions about that, please join our Zoom session. Okay. All right. Business hours. You can put specific operating time, meaning opening hours, or you can put 24 hours. Now, specific hours are more for the type of business where customers go to a physical location. So what I mean by that is, for example, if I wanted to go to Lowe's, right, and I want to know what time they close, it's important that I put in the time that they're closed, right? But if you're a professional service, right, what's important, especially if you are planning to put 24 hours, is making sure that if customers call you at 10 o'clock at night, right, that they get answers from the call, right? Whether you're using AI or, um, whether, I would say that's probably the best case scenario, because I believe that in this day and age where if somebody calls you at 10 o'clock and then you have whether you have a service or if you have, a call answering service that actually, picks up a call, that's a different story. But at the end of the day, they're calling you at 10 o'clock to get answers. And if they're not getting the answers, they are going to go find somebody else, I think, right? So everybody's business is going to be different, and depending on how you want to approach it, with now AI being so prevalent, I think AI is going to become very important to implement in your business. Okay. And then add more hours is applicable to if you have, let's say, a restaurant that has drive-in hours, or I know a process server. I think they added 24 hours where you can submit your order online or something like that. Um, so the, you have the ability to add more specific hours, applicable hours. Okay. Special hours are major holidays. Typically, an email will go out to whoever is managing or owning who's the owner of the Google Business Profile, and ask, "Are you open on Memorial Day? Are you open on 4th of July?" So those are special hours. All right. So lastly, but surely, we're coming to a close with this video. Is more options, right? The best way that I can explain this is that for you to go through each and every one of them and just open it up and go through it, just click on anything that's applicable to you, right? So for example, from the business, Asian owned, I'm Asian, so I click on that, right? If you're black owned, click on that. If you're woman owned, I think that's what it says, right? You click on that. Accessibilities, wheelchair accessibility. If it's not, then don't click it, right? Amenities, do you have gender neutral bathrooms, right? If not, then don't click it. If you do, then click it. Um, LGBTQ friendly, you can put that in. If it's not applicable to you, then don't click it. Okay. Planning, appointments. I'm just giving you a few of the examples. They're always constantly updating this, so there's no way for me to address everything because also specific other some businesses have more specific to them. So like if your primary category happens to be a restaurant, there's going to be other options that may not be available if you're a real estate agent. And so I just want you, that's why I say, you got to click on this and just open it up, right? There are, other service options, online appointments, online service, etc., etc. All right. So that is it. There are other things like products, services, photos that we will go over in in future videos. And so, but we're going to take it one step at a time. All right. So that's it for this video. Thank you.